difference between people succeeding or not succeeding in this. If you can master your mindset, if you can really master your mindset, you're unstoppable. Not in just this business, but in absolutely anything you do in life. And I'll get into that a little bit further into it, but first I just want to ask, who's been in this business, who is at the first regional today? I know a couple of guys there. A few people, awesome. Who's been in this business 6 months or longer? Cool. Anyone been in it longer than a year? Couple. Awesome. I want you to just think back and reflect on what got you to start off in the business in the first place. Just take a moment. I just want you to think, for those of you who started more recently, you'd know. Some of you more than a year, year and a half. Just think back, not about what's your why now, but why did you start originally? What made you look at this and go, this is something I'm going to do. This is something I'm going to put money into, something I'm going to commit time to, this is something I'm going to take time away from my kids, my family, my other commitments to do. Because it is a commitment, it is a big commitment. What went through your head at that time? What was your reason? Just take a moment to reflect it. Because this will all come into your mindset. This will all come into your motivation, your drive, what you achieve. So why Kyani? Why did you choose Kyani? You know, some of you may have been money. You may have been having more time. But why Kyani? Why not just go and get another part-time job? You know, why not maybe, if you want to give back, why not go and join a charity? What made you actually join Kyani? The products? Who joined because of the products? If you love the products, and just the products, you'd probably be a customer. What made you go that extra step to go, well, I want to actually be a part of sharing these products with others? For me, there's a couple of reasons when I joined. I looked at this business. Show of hands, honestly, who looked at this business for the first time and made a decision right then and there, straight after the DFY or the PBR or the meeting, to jump in? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple of people. So you saw the business, and at the end of that you went, this is it. Yep, that was me as well. Started off, 90-minute presentation, one-on-one, guy came over to show us the business. I wasn't interested at the start, sat there with arms crossed. By the end of it, we were signed up, ready to go. A couple of things really stood out for me. Why Kyani? Why this over something else? I've had businesses for 14 years. I've had bars and restaurants in Chapel Street, Melbourne. Anyone from that area? Anyone know Chapel Street? A few Melbourne people? I've had bars and businesses for 14 years. Why leave that to do Kyani? A couple of things. A job or anything else, it's a 40-year plan. If you've been working, if you've started working 40 years and above, and right now the retirement age is 70. So if you're starting work at 20, you're looking at a 50-year plan. So you're looking at long-term work to get results. A linear income. Everyone knows what this is, you've been to DFY. Linear income, you get paid for the hours you show up. You don't show up, you don't get paid. Right? So if you show up for 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours. You show up for 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. If you don't show up, you don't get paid at all. The problem with this is, you know, as I've said this before, if you want to get paid forever, what do you got to do? You got to work forever, right? And that wasn't appealing to me either. You get to be your own boss. You don't have to answer to someone else. This is where the mindset's going to come in, which I'll talk about shortly. You are your own boss. No one's going to tell you, go you know, they will say, get to the regional. But if you're not at the regional, no one's going to call you up and get you in trouble. You're not going to get fired. You come in off your own back. You motivate yourself, and that's where your mindset will come into play. You're your own boss, you get to make your own decisions. That's an amazing thing. That's also probably the downfall, why a lot of people don't actually commit. The simplest, easiest things to do are the easiest things not to do. That's where your mindset and your own motivation comes into play. Tax benefits, you can will it or sell it. Who knew that? Who knew that you could sell your position or will your position? If you create a position and it's successful and you've got a business, it's like a regular business. You've got volume, you've got turnover, you've got profit. You could sell that position. It's worth I think Mel Langley recently did an assessment on that, and there was a lot of zeros in that value because she's built a successful business. The valuation she did was after a year in the business. Most businesses need several years before they can even get a six-figure income for the value they're bringing in. And you can leave it to the kids. You can will it on. Who's got a job here? If you stop working in that job, if you die, if you pass away, that income stops, right? That doesn't flow on to your kids, to your family. The key difference with this is that income you generate and create through this will continue to provide income for you, your family, generations to come, whether you're there or not. When you pass away, when you can no longer provide for your kids and your family, that income will continue to do so. Right? You know, Michael Jackson, one of the greatest entertainers, long gone, but his kids are not short of a penny because they've got income coming in, residual income. That's what you're creating. So very often it's thinking beyond yourself. It's thinking beyond your own needs. This is something you're doing to leave for families, for kids, for generations, not just for yourself right now. And the next time you're waking up going, I don't know if I can make it to the regional today, I'm tired, had a big night. It's more than just yourself. It's what you're doing on a bigger picture to impact other people. So that's the why for Kyani, and that's what stood out for me. Traditional business versus Kyani. $50,000 to $100,000 startup. Now I know we've got a business owner here. Can you share what sort of figures you're looking at to get started in business in your industry? Like what sort of ballpark do you even have to look at to start going?
Close to that.
Close to 100.
Yeah.
All right. Most people who've been in business know this. My first bar cost me 30 grand to get started, and the rest to get it up and running. My final bar I actually opened up cost up to $300,000 to get started. You're starting off a business for $1,000. Now, it's pretty crazy, it's pretty ridiculous. It took me, for those of you who know my story, my first bar, it took me 3 years to generate a profit from that bar. First of all, I ended up having to pay back loans, but we didn't turn over anything outside of our expenses. We were running at a loss for the first 3 years. We generated a profit probably in our fourth year. By the time I paid off those loans that I owed for setting up the business, it's probably year 6, year 7. With this business, cost $1,000 to get started. We made that money back within a week. We went profit 1 week into it. That's crazy for business. These are some of the pros and cons that a lot of people don't realize when they look at this opportunity, when they look at this versus something else. Possibility of no profit for 2 years. The average business, 3 years. 2 years is very, very lenient. Here, 30 days, you've got, what is it? Now, if you see Hilt Sapphire in your first 30 days, it's a $1,250 bonus right now.
Yeah.
In your first 30 days, on top of your Sapphire earnings, which is about close to $2,000. That's a pretty good income for your first 30 days. There's people here who are hitting Sapphire in 2-3 weeks. Hayden Peterson, who couldn't be here today, 18 days he hit Sapphire. You know, and that's people that are doing it quicker than that. The possibility is there. It's all up to you to create that. Their overheads. You know, I mean, we talk about $1,000 to get started. That barely even covered the rent and the outgoings of my businesses. Here your outgoings are $200 roughly. You know, now it's $160 for your own product. That's your overhead. And that's product you're using. It's not going to someone else that you don't see. You're getting a tangible product to use for yourself. The dependency of the business, you know, whether it's a job, whether it's another business, it's dependent on you. As we said, if you don't show up, you don't get paid. So you've got to be there. Where if you have your own business, you can't not show up. The business is reliant on you. With this business, in the beginning, yes it is, but once you leverage it, once you leverage your business, you don't have to be there. I was just saying to Ricky earlier today, our business now is over 1,500 distributors in it. It's leveraged to the point where I need an hour, maybe 2 hours a day to run that business. I can put in more, I can put in less, but that is probably what I would need to put in on a daily basis. Because we've created leaders, we've created teams that can run self-sustaining teams. That's the power of this business. If you can learn to duplicate it, which we'll go into shortly, you don't have to be there to create the income. It'll just keep flowing and growing without you. Double the overhead to double size is scale up without additional costs. So every time I grew my other businesses, I would add expense. another rent if I open another bar, more staff if I had to expand. As this grows, your overheads don't grow. The same amount of investment I had to put in on my overheads monthly, $200 a month for my product when I started, was the same overhead I had with the 1,500 distributors. So whether you're turning over $100 a month or $300,000 a month, your overheads are exactly the same. Which amazes me why people look at network marketing and go, oh, why would you get into that? Why wouldn't you get into that? No, seriously. Looking at this from a business point of view, from 14 years in business, and I looked at this opportunity, it was a no-brainer. The people who don't say yes and take months to decide and say no, it's often because they haven't seen the other side of business. They haven't seen what it's like to go do something else. If you could see the pros and the cons, you go, it's a no-brainer. It honestly is. So that's the why for Kyani for me. That's probably the why for some of you guys if you start looking at this. Some of you younger people in the room, you're going to go on to have, jobs which bigger responsibilities, other businesses. These are the things to bear in mind as you grow. 90% of businesses fail in their first 3 years because of a lot of those factors, because of inability to meet their overheads and expenses. The 10% that's remain, out of that, another 90% go to business the next couple of years. It's only really about a couple of percentage that thrive and continue on in business. Most businesses will not succeed. That is the truth. Because of all these factors.